being with such a great singer, like when I'm touring with Colin James, it's unbelievable to hear him. And he kind of sings like all day long. And it's like, he's so calm with it. Like, I'm really trying to you don't have to be belting it out to really have a nice timbre and sound really powerful. It's not that, if you watch a singer like Bonnie Raitt, she's barely moving her face and it's like the most powerful thing you've ever heard, So I've, I try to get little tips and stuff. It's kind of funny. I was in the van with Colin on one of our like duo tours, and it's basically just me at the time it was just me and him in an SUV, and then the guys were in the truck ahead of us. So we're just, driving around Canada, and I'm kind of picking his brain about stuff. And I'm like, so what kind of vocally, like, what kind of advice do you have? And he just like, he looks over and just goes, just listen to Stevie Wonder. Like, okay, yeah, but like anything else? He's like, no, just sing. So I try to, I try to read up on things and get little tips and stuff like that. And I'd say, yeah, probably because I joined Colin's band probably about 2009 as well. And, really started really working on my vocals and stuff like that. Trying to be better, work on the range, and, not lose my voice as much.
We have a ton of fan questions sent in here, and 2 or 3 of them are asking questions about your time with Colin James. So you talked a little bit about Colin James when asking about your vocals and maturity. So I might as well just rattle off these Colin James questions while we're here, sure, and then we'll get back to the second solo album. So Hooten Brenda from the Big Wreck fan group on Facebook asks, I would ask Chris how he keeps his performance schedule in check, playing for both Big Wreck and Colin James and Sass and. So that's from Hooten.
Well, it's kind of the nature of being a Canadian musician, really. Like, I'm fortunate enough that I do have all those avenues, and when there's time off, like, I can just pick up some cover gigs, and if need be, just go play solo acoustic sort of things. And a lot of just kind of fingers crossed. I try not to miss any Big Wreck stuff. I did miss one earlier this year in Ottawa, and luckily Paulo's still around to cover me every once in a while.
That's the one show that I was at, and I miss you, but I know Paulo, so I was like, okay, well, it's a good trade-off.
Oh, Paulo's awesome. So we're really lucky that he can cover for me every once in a while. And I feel like it's tougher for me to sub out of the Big Wreck stuff because it's very band and show oriented, and there's tons of intricacies that you can't just kind of fill in for. And so I guess Big Wreck's kind of my priority, but if there's a month-long Colin tour and only one Big Wreck show, something's got to give. I can't afford to not do that.
We have another question from Linda Zuber. How did he and Colin James meet, and what is his favorite song? So I don't know if what is his favorite song is what's your favorite Colin James song, or just your favorite song, period. So you can take that how you want. But how did you meet Colin James?
I actually met Colin in the van on the way to our first gig together. I got a call from his management about maybe 2 months before the gig, and they're like, "Are you available on this date?" Colin James, we were playing in Barrie. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to do that. If you want to, send me a set list and let me know when rehearsals are. And like, I just hear on the other end of the line, they're just laughing. And they're, when the laughing stops, they're like, there will be no rehearsal. There's probably not going to be a sound check, and we'll do our best to get you a song list. I was like, okay, that's kind of strange. And then I ended up getting an email of like 60 songs for like a 10-song set, but I got 60 songs. So, I really want to do a good job. So I learned all of them, and, worked my butt off for 2 months because I really wanted the gig. Like, I didn't want to, do badly. This was like a really important thing for me. And then yeah, on the day of the show, no sound check or anything. I was 2 rows back in the van. Colin gets in the front. He's just like, "Oh, you're Chris. How you doing, man?" I'm like, "Good." He's like, "Do you sing?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I sing." And then he just starts into one of the songs that we didn't even end up doing it that night, I don't think. And I sung along with it, and I was just kind of freaked out like the whole time. I was like, here I am meeting Colin James, and he's asked me to sing within the first 20 seconds. and then we went on stage. Like there was no time. It was like not really a hang or anything like that. And it was pretty crazy. So that's how we met.
Okay. And what would you say is your favorite song?
My favorite Colin song?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the question. It was attached to how did you meet Colin, but what's your favorite song? I guess is just period. What's your favorite song?
My favorite song ever. Well, right now it's Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits. But if it's a favorite Colin song, I don't know if I really want to pick one, but the National Steel album is probably my favorite. I just love when he plays steel guitar, like dobro stuff. It's unbelievable. He's so good at that sort of stuff. And the vocals are amazing too. So anything off of National Steel.
So we have a question from Russell Stewart. Do you use different gear playing with Big Rec compared to Colin James?
Absolutely. Totally different. Some of the same guitars, but I have a whole different pedal board for Big Rec because I'm using a Rev Generator 120 with them right now, and I have one of those G2 switchers that changes the amp channels and stuff like that. It's way more complicated than the rig with Colin. I don't really use a lot of effects with Colin, so it's more of it's like my cover band board, which I basically built to be able to do any kind of cover song in the world and not be lost. It goes, I think I've got 5 different overdrives on it, little delay, that sort of stuff. But with the Big Rec, it's like, okay, I've got, HX effects. I've got a switcher because I was trying to use just like a, just individual switching thing. And, you got to get from super clean with reverbs and delays to super heavy with nothing on it in one step of a button, or else you're just tap dancing the whole time and it's just too much. So the G2 gig rig things really saved me on that. So no, it's very different rigs.